Cup of Joe with Grandpa Dez. Hey, Richard, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm excellent. So this is by special request, and we are on the
Really?
fight game. Yeah. A couple people actually wanted to hear from you, or see you, I guess, both. So we're on the Fight Game Media channel. I've done a few of these shows on here, and this might become more of a regular thing, assuming this goes well. And yeah, Richard, we've never met face to face, although I
No.
guess we almost did in Dallas, right?
Yeah, I was hoping we could hook it up there in Dallas. You were a busy man. You
Yeah,
guys look like you had a blast.
we did, but I really would have. I wish I could have found the time.
Yeah, and you
I
guys
kept
weren't actually that far away from us either. You
no.
were
Where
just down the
so
block.
we were at the Omni. Where were you? At the Regency? No, the High
Uh,
Regency, right?
that's right. I think that's right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
because you went there because you thought that's where the wrestlers were going to be.
Yeah, we did that we did that for Royal Rumble in
Okay.
2020 in Houston, and I knew that because I had been to the Rumble a couple of years, not the Rumble, Survivor Series, a couple of
Okay.
years prior to that, and just by luck, and then so I told my wife, and then so we ended up booking that for Rumble 20, and it worked out. We took our kids,
Yeah.
and as you probably figured out, everybody's walking around and
Mm-hmm.
stopping, and especially for kids,
Yeah.
and so yeah, that's what we ended up doing for Rumble. And then when WrestleMania was announced for Dallas, I understood that that was the hotel that they usually stayed at, so
I think that's where they were in 2016.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why we booked it there. But we
Yeah.
booked it like, gosh, a year and a half in advance or whatever.
Really? Well, seeing me I normally what I would do, and this is what I did in 2016, is as we're driving down, I just go on hotels.com
Mm-hmm.
and find a cheap hotel that is, it doesn't have to be close because we're driving. And
Right.
so I was going to do that. And then I was messaging the person we were supposed to meet. It's no secret, right? Like Emily's favorite wrestler is Becky.
Mm-hmm.
So she says, we're, oh, are you guys going to be close to the Omni? Because that's where we're staying. And I'm like, I honestly don't know. I don't know where we're staying, but maybe I'll look for something close to there. And then, so I'm looking, and then, and then I just happen to look and I see the Omni, and it's like, it's expensive.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking, like, you know what? Like, we only do this. We go to Mania every 6 years, and I assume it's going to be a nice hotel, and it was. And it's like, you know what? I'll just pay a little bit more, and it'll be so easy.
Right.
And so I decided, yeah, I'll just book at the Omni, and so I literally booked it like an hour and a half before I got to Dallas.
Oh, really? So
You
you're on
booked a
the
year
road
and a half
booking
in
hotel?
advance. Yeah. And
Wow.
I mean, it wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
I think we spent, I think it was $700 for 3 nights.
Yeah. It's probably close to what we did too.
Yeah, but I mean, it was so convenient.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, literally, as we're checking in, I walk past the door, I see wrestlers. I waiting, I see more wrestlers, and it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. And it's funny. So you stayed at the Regency, and I assume
Right.
you were like me. You met a lot of wrestlers, right?
Not at
Um,
the Hyatt. No.
oh, okay. No, like
I saw,
when you went before.
yes. And
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Houston,
yeah.
it was. Yeah. I went to the NXT show that year. That was when they had the Worlds Collide thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I went to that show, and then we went to the Rumble the next day. And so my kids, I went to the Worlds Collide show by myself. And so
Okay.
when I came back, it was already late. And my wife said, girls are asleep. And then the bar's full of wrestlers.
Yeah.
And said, so that I'll be at the bar then,
That
so.
that was me on the Saturday night, so night one of Mania. I think it
Mhm.
was that night. Yeah, it was just packed. Maybe it was night two.
I can
I don't know,
imagine.
whichever night it was. Oh, that was night. I think I was messaging you,
Right.
and I just walked in, and I mean, you couldn't even move. It was so busy, and yeah, it was wrestlers, and most of them weren't even WWE wrestlers. Like there was
Yeah.
people from all over the place. But no, the reason I asked is like there seemed to be like a class system of
Mhm.
wrestlers that you would see and wrestlers you wouldn't see.
Mhm.
Like, at a certain level, you weren't seeing, like, I didn't see Randy Orton. I didn't see Drew McIntyre. I didn't see Roman Reigns.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have seen Becky. There's no way I would have seen Becky,
Or
but,
Seth.
or Seth. Yeah. And yet, like, so when the first time we met Becky, like where we went to meet her, I mean, that's when Trish and Lita walked by. And I mean, we wouldn't have met Trish and Lita, like,
Right.
but they were in this area that, not everyone was allowed to go to. and so that was cool. But that's what I was saying. Like I was wondering. I assume it was the same. Like your rank and file guys. You're going to see. We even saw Bianca. Which I guess she's not quite there yet, but I think she's getting there.
Yeah, yeah.
We saw Sasha and Becky, but I don't think we were supposed to see them. Like it was behind the building. They were getting into a car, and they were not Becky, Bailey and Sasha. Bailey was driving. Sasha got in the passenger seat, and I guess they probably went to Mania. Or no, it was NXT. Yeah, it was before NXT. So I don't know if they went to the show, but it was
Saturday morning.
Yeah, like we were going to our car to go to NXT, and that's when we saw them.
Yeah.
And if I had Emily like out of the vehicle and in her wheelchair or whatever, I might have stopped and asked if they wanted a picture, because I know Emily would have recognized Bailey.
Right.
I don't know about Sasha, but Bailey is one of her favorites.
Yeah, yeah.
But and I'm sure they would have taken a picture with her. How do you say no to a kid in a wheelchair?
Right, right.
Yeah. But we ended up like we were already in the car, so we just kept driving. And
yeah, when we were in Houston, I don't remember, like you're mentioning the class system.
Yeah,
it's the bar was mainly full of NXT folk.
Yeah. Okay.
Braun was there, and there was a couple of people, main roster people. Bianca did stroll by with Montez.
Yeah.
And his partner, I'm drawing a blank here.
Angelo Dawkins.
Yeah, Dawkins hung out in the bar with us, and it was cool. I mean, he stayed there and talked to us for quite a while. So,
cool.
Yeah. We had fun.
Riddle was the life of the party. Damian Priest. So those two were like to get like kind of like this. Dolph Ziggler and his brother were like off in a group with a bunch of people, and they were with like Wee Man. And and I ended up getting a picture with Wee Man. Odyssey Jones was limping around. He
got hurt the day before, right?
No, he's been hurt for a while.
Oh, okay.
You're thinking of Boogs.
Who was hurt the day?
Boogs.
No. At the NXT show, somebody got hurt at the NXT
show. Grayson Waller, that was a work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't see him, but that
I remember somebody got hurt.
Yeah, when he dove onto the ladder.
Right. Yeah.
Did you go to that show?
I did not. No.
Okay.
What did we do Saturday? I think Saturday we took the kids to like the aquarium, and
we
I knew this WrestleMania would be a long show.
Yeah.
And so I knew that Saturday and Sunday were going to be long days.
They weren't too bad though. Like
yeah. So we wanted to kind of go at a leisurely pace and not exert them too much, right?
Yeah.
And so we went to the aquarium downtown Dallas, which was really, really cool. So we didn't do too much wrestling stuff during the day on Saturday or Sunday, because my wife and I, this was my 5th time and her 4th. So
she's a wrestling fan too.
Kind of
puts up with it for you.
She kind of didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But so
my wife stayed home, but she had an excuse.
Yeah. How's she doing?
It's slow. It's slow. Like I'm going to Vegas this week, right?
Right.
Yeah, everyone take a shot. And I actually, when this goes up, I might already be there. So we're a little worried because she's alone with Emily. My oldest son, or my second oldest son, is here, so he's going to help with her. And then our daughter is staying here, but she's hardly ever here. So when she's around, our like second youngest daughter, she's the one I brought to Dallas with me. She will help with Emily as well if she's around. So between the two of them, hopefully she'll be okay. But yeah, it's hard, man. It's been 8 weeks, and she's still getting her strength back. She said she can lift a 10-pound bag of potatoes now. But she can't lift Emily. So it's tough, man. But she help. Yeah, she's back at work though, and she's got a million meds. But yeah, it's it's nice that you're able to take your family, that they can enjoy that with you. How are your seats?
They were okay. We were kind of in the middle of the stadium. In the past, for 32, I went with my cousin, and we sat way near the top. So Rock was about so big, and but these were pretty good. We had pretty good sideline, I thought, seats, and we were pretty happy with them. So
my seats for Mania 32, same thing. I got them literally like on the way down. I went on StubHub, and I just what can I get, and and I saw 2 seats right beside the entranceway, and they were like I don't know, I can't remember, like $400 each. And it's like, again, like I go to so few shows that if I'm going to go, I don't mind spending that much money. So I bought 2 tickets, one for me, one for my son. We were right beside the entrance ramp, and he got like so many awesome pictures. Like he was 7 feet from the Rock,
Yeah.
as he was walking by. Charlotte, like all of them, right? And these seats that Becky got us they were awesome. Like we were on the short side, like there's 4 sides of the ring, obviously, and we were on the side that was like if you're looking at if you're coming down the entrance,
Like
it
if
would
you're Michael Cole, are you on his left or his right?
left. So
Okay.
we're like, if you're coming down the ramp, we're on the right.
Right.
And so there's only like 10 rows. And then on behind the 10th row, there's a spade of maybe like 10 feet. And then there's a riser. And we were on the risers in the first row of the risers. So we were above the seats. So we had a direct view to the ring. The problem was, and I put this on the Facebook group, I don't know if you would have saw it, but all the WWE officials and event staff and everything, they would congregate right in front of our seats whenever they wanted to see anything. So if something big was going to happen and they knew it was coming, they're all there. And so when Stone Cold was there, I mean, it was like sold out at the monitor, like JR says. Well, it was sold out right in front of Emily's seat. Oh, so referees were there. I saw, like officials, people in suits. I assume they're real important, and they all got their cell phones. Like they're not there as part of their job. They're there because they want to see Stone Cold.
So were they all kind of gathering like in the minutes before?
Yeah. Like, and even as it was going on, like as soon as Kevin Owens came out, like that's when they started gathering. And so by the time Stone Cold came, we couldn't see the ring. So finally we went into all of them. We're like, well, if you can't beat them, join them. So we just went, I took Emily down, but then it was way too loud there. And so as soon as Stone Cold came out, the pop was crazy, got her calmed down. And then as soon as he announced he's going to have a match, like, you were there, the place exploded. And it was a sustained pop. Like it wasn't just a one time, it was like nonstop. And Emily just started freaking out. So I remember Dave Meltzer made the comment, nobody's leaving during the Stone Cold match. We did. I didn't see a second of the Stone Cold match live. I saw it on tape, it was fine. I got to see him do the entrance. I saw him the next day, so that was cool. But
we actually saw him on Monday morning.
Oh, you actually saw him?
Cool. We checked out of our hotel and we were looking for breakfast. So we were kind of walking. We were on foot, and we actually went into your hotel.
Okay.
And we were just kind of walking around, taking pictures of the girls and the statues and whatever outside, right? And we went into your hotel to get something to drink, and I think we saw R-Truth come out.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I saw him a couple times.
And then my youngest, she's 6. She goes, "Mama, isn't that Stone Cold?" And sure enough, there's Steve coming through the lobby. He just came out of the elevators and just hung that right to go down that long hallway.
Yeah. Because that's where, like, so when you go down that hallway that you're talking about, like there's the one entrance where most of the wrestlers go to get into their vehicles to go. And then there's one way at the back where the important people go.
Right. That's what I kind of figured.
That's where he was going.
When we left, we went down that long hallway.
Yeah.
And I saw, well, there's another parking area there. That's probably why he went this way.
Yeah.
And so he hightailed it out of there. He was not looking back.
I didn't see him. I didn't see like anybody at that level in the hotel. Really? Like I remember I saw one of the first guys I saw was Omos, and he was with Lashley, which should have clued me in that was coming.
With Lashley. Okay.
Not Lashley. Sorry. No, MVP.
MVP. Okay.
Yeah. And Shelton Benjamin. So yeah, that should have clued me in right there.
Oh, because they did the turn the night of the
next night,
didn't
see Cedric. Didn't see Cedric. But so we had to hightail it out, and then the next day, it was a little bit better, although she had already seen Becky, so she didn't last more than 15 minutes the second day. Like 15 minutes she'd have to go to the back, but luckily my youngest daughter Sydney, she's not the youngest besides Emily, she's not a wrestling fan, so she didn't mind. She'd go to the back with her and calm her down, and then they'd come back out, and the only thing she wanted to see was the Johnny Knoxville match. So when the Johnny Knoxville match happened, I took Emily to the back, and I was just kind of watching on the monitor, and so I saw most of it. But
I'm not a. I was gonna say I'm
oh,
not a
me
jackass.
neither. Jackass? No,
Yeah,
no.
I say
Yeah,
I'm not a jackass, but I'm not a jackass
yeah, yeah,
fan.
yeah,
And so I didn't know. I mean, I know who John is, but
yeah.
I wasn't really familiar with the rest of the crew.
No, and Sydney she popped for everything. Like
Yeah.
she knew, and she videoed it. So like, not only did I see it on Mania, like I watched Mania when I got back, but I have it on my phone. So
Oh yeah,
she taped the whole match, and it was cool because to watch her and then hear her reactions as I'm watching it was like really cool.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I gotta ask you about your shirt. Violent Gents, but it's the Dallas Stars logo.
It is. It is.
Yeah. So what is that?
No, just I like their stuff. The Violent Gentleman brand. I'm
So
not
what is
really.
that? I've never heard of it.
It's a hockey brand. I think they you
Oh,
see a lot of guys wear these shirts.
okay.
Violent Gentleman is the name of the brand, and then it's mainly NHL teams,
Oh, okay.
and
So would they have the different logos for the different teams?
yeah, there's all kinds of different
Okay.
shirts.
You
In
might
like
see a Jets one, like
could be yeah, like
yeah.
there was one that would say like enforce Dallas or enforce
Oh,
Calgary or enforce or I think it's enforce or defend one of those two.
okay.
Winnipeg, right, or
Yeah.
whatever, right? So, yeah, I like their stuff, and this is about as close as we're gonna get to an NHL team here,
In
So,
San Antonio, yeah. You got a AHL team, don't you? Rampage?
I
Isn't it
think
this
so. I think
Rampage?
they
Yeah.
did.
Okay, maybe I'm
They
being
had a couple of minor league hockey teams here.
okay.
For a while actually, the Spurs owned the team for a while, but
Okay.
I want to say they relocated, but I
Oh,
could be wrong.
now you got me thinking. I think it was called the San Antonio Rampage, and
That's
I'm
right. That's right.
assuming they would have been probably the farm team of the Dallas Stars, but I think the Dallas Stars farm team is in Iowa now.
I don't know.
The
It
Iowa
was a
Stars.
rampage. Now that you say
Yeah,
that, it was a rampage,
yeah.
but I don't
So they
remember
were
who the
actually
affiliate was.
they're quite a while. Okay, so they were actually the Florida Panthers farm team. Then they were the Phoenix Coyotes, the Colorado Avalanche, and the St. Louis Blues, and they folded in 2020.
See?
Then they moved to Henderson, and they're now the Golden Knights affiliate. So
Henderson, Nevada.
yeah, yeah. So they're the Henderson Silver Knights. So I
Wow.
guess the owners of the team sold it or moved it or whatever. What is it saying? Oh, so the Golden Knights purchased the franchise
Hmm.
from the Spurs and moved it. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's not
The
really the
Spurs have a
same.
WNBA
Yeah.
team, and
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they sold them or not, but um, we no longer have a WNBA team. We no longer have the Rampage, so
So
it's
it's just
just the
basketball.
Spurs. Yep.
Yeah, which I mean, you got a pretty good team.
Yeah.
Over the
Doing all
years.
right.
I mean, right now they're not great, but
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
been traditionally. I mean, you got spoiled with David Robinson and
We were very
um,
spoiled for a long
yeah,
time.
yeah, and even had DeMar DeRozan for a cup of coffee.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
real happy for him. He's doing well in
yeah,
Chicago.
he's doing
So
real well in Philly. Right, Philly? Is that where he went?
Chicago, he's a bull.
Chicago. Right, right, right.
Yeah, he's a bull.
Yeah, I kind of as soon as we got rid of him, I stopped paying attention because I'm a big Raptors fan.
Raptor guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So when no when remember when Moxley and the rumors were Moxley and Danielson were going to get together, I
Mhm.
thought that would be their name, Violent Gentlemen, and then someone told me like, oh well, that's like a brand. So then like that's what you're talking about. So I didn't even
Yeah,
think of that until you mentioned it, but that would have been a good name for their team. I
yeah,
like
yeah.
the Blackpool Combat Club, but
Blackpool. Yeah.
yeah, but Violent Gentlemen would have been a great name too.
I was watching a YouTube video of Brian and Regal wrestling from 2000, I think it was.
Oh wow.
I'm not sure if it was the Pillman show. I think it was a different show. It was in Memphis, I think.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, the Pillman show was Benoit, I think, and Regal, and
and Regal.
that's what got Regal his job back.
Okay.
Yeah, but
And because I was listening to him on Renee's show, and he was referencing a match they had, and so I looked it up, and I'm not sure if it was the one he was talking about, but it was pretty fun match. Regal in 2000 was great, and Brian looks such a kid,
I know, but he was so good.
He was really good, and that's what I
yeah,
told my wife. I said, "Can you believe that he's not? He was less than a year into the business, I think, at the time, because
I
he was here for
yeah,
less than a year
yeah,
here in San Antonio.
with in Shawn Michaels' company,
Yeah,
right?
Sean and Rudy were the ones that
Yeah,
trained him. Sean. It's funny because
kind
a
of just
couple of
his name, right?
what's that?
It was kind of just his name. He didn't really. Well, he
No,
wasn't
he
real
was there a
hands-on,
lot.
was he?
He was
Was
there a
he?
lot.
Oh, okay, okay.
He was there a lot, and then Brian. I think Brian has said that at the time it was 2099, and so
Right.
he had just retired the year before, so he couldn't really take a lot of bumps. So Rudy Boy Gonzalez, who was from here, and he's been a wrestler on the scene since the '80s, early '80s, and he was like Sean's right hand man at the school, and he actually took over the school when Sean gave it up, and so Rudy was the guy that was in the ring with Brian a lot. It's kind of like I guess like 20 years or so before, when Sean was training here, Jose Lotario is the one that gets the bulk of the credit for training Sean. But there was another guy, and he passed away this year, and I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, and he just recently passed away. And according to Rudy, he's the one that spent the majority of the time in the ring with Sean, taking the bumps and going through the moves of whatever. So, whatever it was 15, 20 years later, the same thing played out with Rudy and Brian. So,
yeah, no kidding. I just saw recently, like within the last 2 months, I watched the main event of the first ROH show, which was Danielson, Daniels, and Loki. And you go back and watch that now, and those guys were so good. Like, I mean, and I said this when I watched it. If that exact match, like, I'm not talking about those guys in 2022. I'm saying you put that match on any wrestling show right now, it's the match of the night and it's a match of the year candidate. Like, it was so good. But yet Danielson is better now than he was then.
Oh yeah.
But this match in particular was just so good because Danielson, like, it was like it wasn't like, I bet you a lot of purists, like, like John LaRocca, like, would probably have watched that and it's like, they had no psychology, whatever. But it was just like boom, 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 boom. And they just didn't stop. Like it was like 25, 30 minutes of just nonstop. And it was like the kind of match. And it really it was a main event of the first ROH show. So literally, like, probably the last 20 years of indie wrestling was built off of matches like that, or possibly that exact match. Like every indie guy that's come up in the last 15 years, 20 years has watched that match and patterned themselves after that. Like, not obviously not everyone, but most.
Brian is what, a couple of years into his career, low key, probably about the same.
Daniels, it was like 8 years because he started in 93, and this was 2002, so 9 years. Yeah. And so good. And I mean, I and like I said, I mean, I knew it was good, and I'd watched it. I think I even have the DVD somewhere, but I was watching it on the Fight Network, and I was just watching it though. It's like this exact match, like like the Phoenix Kyle O'Reilly match that aired on Dynamite. That, I mean, it was similar to that because there was Danielson would bring like kind of the grappling. Daniels is the kind of the ring general, kind of thing, like, and Loki was just all over the place,
right?
And also with the MMA stuff too. So you had a little bit of everything in that match, but Danielson was way more like he's more aerial at the time, moving around a lot. Daniels as well. Daniels was like kind of an aerial guy back then too. Like he was a ring general. Well, the ring general's gimmick actually didn't even come for a few years after that. But he was kind of,
bring up low key because we were talking earlier about who we saw Mania weekend. And I was at the WrestleCon show on I think it was the Thursday night.
Yeah.
I don't remember what
was Lawler at that one.
Who's that?
Was Filthy wrestling on that one?
No, it was. Gosh, it was one of the matches that everybody said was the match of the weekend.
Speedball,
Mike Bailey, and Bandito.
Yes, yeah.
So I was at that show, and after that match was great, by the way. And then afterwards, after one of the matches, I just happened to go into the restroom, and here comes Low Key with his little hoodie over his head and just kind of like being low key.
Hello.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I guess they don't have bathrooms for these guys back there. And I guess about, we were drinking we were going through some beers that night. So about an hour or so later, again, who do I pass in and out of the bathroom? Jushin Thunder Liger in his
mask,
in full
everything. Oh wow,
everything. And I said, like, he's like, he of course is acknowledging everybody. And
what was he doing there?
He made an appearance during the show.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He
Because
was
like he's
doing
not
the meet and
wrestling,
he was
and
doing the meet and greets at the
okay.
WrestleCon in full
Okay.
costume.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
So he was there, and
Okay.
they introduced him during that show, and he just came out and posed and took a bow and what have you.
That
Uh,
is the one thing I missed this time. Like I didn't really experience any of the non WWE stuff really.
mhm. Yeah,
Just because, where we were and who I was with. And um, I mean, I did see the ROH show, but I didn't see like the last time
that was
I,
Friday, right?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, yeah. The last time we stayed at I stayed out, like I said, way out in the kind of the suburbs, but my friends were staying at the WrestleCon hotel. So
Hmm.
we saw, everybody that wasn't in WWE, we saw. And
Hmm.
so this time was the exact opposite. I saw all the WWE people, but I didn't see almost anybody other than when I was Saturday night, Friday night after the ROH show, I met up with Filthy and we, we had some drinks together, and I met a bunch of the New Japan Strong guys
Oh,
because
okay.
he
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was hanging out with them. So, but
yeah.
the
I
funny
did
thing is
WrestleCon on Friday afternoon,
okay, yeah,
and
because
then I
they had
went
shows all weekend,
to.
right?
It was all weekend, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I went to Hall of Fame. I took my daughter to Hall of Fame that night.
I see
Um,
that, and that's the other thing. I had to choose. I mean, I had really to choose between three things: either Impact, ROH, or the Hall of Fame.
mhm,
And I probably could have got free tickets to the Hall of Fame,
mhm.
but I really wanted to see that ROH show. And
Yeah,
honestly, okay, the best match I saw all weekend was the Briscoes and FTR.
it was.
No,
It
no
was.
question.
I saw it. I bought the show,
Yeah,
and I wasn't going to watch it live because I was at Hall of Fame. And I started to watch it afterwards, and it was too late, and so I just
yeah.
turned it off. And I didn't watch the tag match until I think Tuesday.
Okay.
And so I had heard, it had already been the whole weekend, and it was match of the weekend,
Yeah,
and all this hype, right?
yeah.
And I finally got to see it on Tuesday, and I got to say, I mean, it lived up to all that stuff. It was terrific.
But
Just
that said, for me personally, now for me, I saw 4 shows that weekend. I saw the two Manias, I saw the NXT, and I saw ROH.
mm-hmm,
As an overall show, it was the worst show that I saw.
mm-hmm.
Now, that's not to say it was bad. It was not even close to bad. But the other 3 shows were real good. A lot of people like shit on the NXT show. Like I liked it. Like
Yeah.
I was there. I enjoyed it. Like
It's funny because
I didn't see the pre-show, and that was the worst match, so that might have helped. But
I didn't watch the pre-show. I think I've seen most of the NXT show now.
yeah,
It felt like NXT.
yeah, it felt like Takeover.
It
Like
felt like a takeover show.
yeah, yeah,
And it was cool to see them in front of whatever it was, 4,500 people, whatever
yeah,
it was.
yeah. And the
Um,
crowd that was there loved it. You
yeah,
know,
and it came off. It looked great.
yeah. I haven't
Um,
watched it back. I just saw it
from,
live.
for
So
most of the wrestling that I saw was good.
yeah.
Um, I didn't. I saw the main event and then a couple of other matches. I didn't like the main event. I didn't like the booking in the main event.
Ciampa D'Angelo was maybe the weakest match I saw, but even that was like 3 stars. You
Mhm.
know,
He lost, right? That was
yeah, because it was
when he
just
comes
going
out, he takes
away.
his bow
Yeah,
or whatever. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and that's where D'Angelo became the Dawn of NXT.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
But
then
I
the main
just thought,
event. And the
you know,
weird thing with the main event was the crowd was behind Ziggler, which shocked me.
mm,
But whatever. I mean, they were cheering for Ziggler. I was there. I
yeah,
don't know why, but
yeah,
you know,
not my guy. So,
oh, okay, yeah. But
um,
and then the Mania shows were both great.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. The girls were entertained. Like I said, the little one, she's 6, so she's easily distracted, and she's into all the entrances, and she loves the New Day, and so she was like devastated when they were cut from night 1,
oh
right? And
yeah,
then they booked them on night 2 in 3 minutes or whatever it was, right? And they were in and out, so she was disappointed at that, and Becky lost, and she was disappointed, and Ronda lost, and she was disappointed. So, it is what it is. But overall, we had a good time. But yeah, getting back to your story about we were talking about Low Key and Ring of Honor. But yeah,
yeah.
I just happened to run into him in the restroom. Like you mentioned, Low Key.
Oh yeah, I interrupted you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, he was just like totally low key. Like pardon the pun, but
You didn't. Oh, I just picked up on that. So you didn't bug him for
I did not
anything?
talk to him. No,
No.
I did have a picture with Liger. And I saw Mike Bailey after the show, and Athena was there, and Tony Storm was there, and I think Chris Hero was running the show, maybe like the lead agent, I think, because he was there and he was pretty visible, like he was at the curtain, and he might have been timing the show and what have you. But
This
anyway,
this is from the ROH show. That was I
oh,
was right in
man.
I was right in the front row. It was cool. There's times when you could see me if you were watching the show. Oh,
I
wait a
looked
minute.
for you. I've only seen the show once, so I'll need to go back and look for you again. But
I can't get rid of that thing now.
yeah.
I don't know what I did.
Oh,
uh,
you said before that you think that's the best match you've ever seen live.
No,
No,
that's
okay.
the best tag team match I ever saw live for sure.
Okay.
But the best match I've ever seen live is Dustin and
Cody, right?
yeah. And then the best tag team match I saw before that would have been American Alpha versus there, I got rid of it. American Alpha and FTR, or the Revival at the time, at NXT TakeOver Dallas.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that, but now that was the best tag team match, probably the second best match I've seen live, I would say.
They've been in one of my, it's probably one in my top 5. I saw FTR and DIY at a live event here in San Antonio.
Yeah, you posted didn't you post like a poster?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Man, that card was awesome.
Yeah,
like,
I
remember
that was one of the, I think that was the first time NXT came here.
Because you had Finn Balor and Samoa Joe on the card. You had Bailey, I think, was still in NXT at the time.
That was her last weekend, I think, in NXT was that.
Sonya and Mandy, but Sonya was still going by her given name.
Daria,
Daria Buenato.
Something like that.
And then you had DYI and FTR, or the Revival. You had Joe and Finn. I think you had Shinsuke was on the card.
It was Finn and Shinsuke versus Joe and Bobby Roode was the main event.
Right. Yeah.
And
I just remember
Kenta and Austin Aries was on the undercard. That was great match. Great match.
Yeah, even the one I was at was Austin and Baron Corbin. So that was like the worst match on that takeover. And that was as good as the Ciampa D'Angelo match from this past one. That's the thing people don't remember. Like when you're talking about like classic takeovers, like everyone's remembering like the very best ones, like Takeover Brooklyn, or the Chicago shows or the Toronto show, but they're not like remembering back to like 2014, 2015 when those things started. And I mean, they were good and they were great for the time.
Cesaro and Sami Zayn.
But I mean, you always had like a couple matches on there that were like, like Baron Corbin would be wrestling, like Tyler Breeze or something, like it, like just not, and it's like a 2-star match. Like, and so that takeover in Dallas was very similar to those early takeovers, or even Takeover Arrival. You had like Emma, wrestling on that show, like, that, God bless her, that wasn't great. And like the women's match with Cora Jade and Io Shirai and Mandy Rose was way better than any match Emma ever had in her life. Yeah. So, I think people, the show sucks. Like, I mean,
I stopped watching it. I was trying to listen to John and Garrett this week, and they've given up on the show, and I'm pretty much there. I used to watch it, and now I don't even record it. I used to DVR the show, and I don't even do that now.
I still watch it, but that's just, I'm an addict.
Yeah. I don't watch. Yeah, I'm kind of like with John. I kind of gave up my Tuesdays. I'd rather do something else, because Thursday was my night, because I didn't watch Impact.
Right.
And I kind of feel like maybe I should start watching Impact.
Impact's really good.
This morning I woke up and I don't know why, but I wanted to see what was going on with Best of Super Juniors, and I realized that Alexander and Ishii was on there, and I didn't see that match from a few weeks ago from Under Siege, so I started watching that match. For the first time, and that was a really good match. That was a really fun match. I haven't seen a lot of Alexander.
If you don't watch Impact, you wouldn't.
I saw him at the WrestleCon show. First time I've ever seen him in person. But I mean, I've seen some of his bigger matches, but I haven't like the whole tag team thing with Paige.
Oh, Ethan Page, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the North. Yeah.
I'm hoping, well, I shouldn't say hoping. I might see, that's probably a better way to put it. I might see him live this week. He's got a match against Filthy Tom Lawler in Vegas on Friday. And
Are they doing strong there?
no, it's like a local Vegas indie, and they
Oh,
got a
really?
bunch of big, like mostly Impact wrestlers in there.
Mhm.
But Filthy's a local guy, so I imagine he's just helping them out. I think the promotion's called Revolver.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that sounds right.
half the guys on the card at least are from Impact, and you
Okay.
got like Effie in there, Shaza McKenzie, and can't remember some of the other names that Blake Christian. Yeah, I'm blanking on the rest of them. There's a thread on it in the Fight Game group, but so me and Steve Geimer, I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's another Texas guy, but he's from Dallas. We're thinking about going there after Rampage, and then there's karaoke that a bunch of people are getting together for at 11:15. So this show is at 7:30. So I think we got time. And Rampage is super early
So
because
when
of
are you getting there?
I'm getting there Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, and it's filling up. I mean, literally, like I'm kind of tentatively have plans to meet somebody for lunch, like a half hour after I get off the plane.
Okay.
And then,
Wow.
Dynamite starts at, like, I think the doors open at 3. So,
Oh, that's
and
right. That's right. Yeah,
yeah,
because
the show would start at 5.
they're Pacific
So
time, right?
yeah. And then I got to record the Dynamite show after, and then I'm going to do Garrett's podcast on Wrestling Observer. So
Oh
it's
man.
like, and then I got to gamble, so I'm,
When was the
that
last time you were
weekend's
in Vegas?
2.5 years ago.
19?
Before, well, no, 20, like right
Okay.
before the pandemic. I would go 3 times a year.
Really?
So yeah, so I had gone in late January of 2020. And funny thing, I don't know if I don't know if you know her, but I'm sure you know of her, Carla Duran.
Yes, I do.
She
Know
posts
the
in
name.
the group. Yeah, well, she's Stitch's daughter,
Mm.
and so she's in the Fight Game group. And
The UFC, right?
I've
Cornerman, right?
never actually met her in person. And so I was in Vegas, and she knew I was coming, so we had plans. We were going to grab breakfast, and she messages me the morning that we were supposed to meet, and she's like, "Sorry, I'm not going to make it. Not feeling well." She writes, "The Vegas flu is a real thing." This
Oh,
is like January 26th, 2020. So, like COVID is here. Like,
right.
it's not, people knew about it. It was, about 6 weeks before the world shut down. But, looking back at that message, like, and we've joked about it since. And she's like, it was a hangover. Like, it wasn't, it wasn't COVID. But we ended up not connecting. And then, who knew that it was going to be like, I wasn't going to be back in Vegas for the 2.5 years. The thing
Yeah.
that really pisses me off is I work hard to get my points up at these hotels,
Oh,
and I wasn't able to go. I've lost, like, I think I had $200 in food credits at the Cosmo. I had free rooms at a few different chains, and and they're gone. Like, they
so
wouldn't
you just
honor
lost all
that
that
stuff.
stuff just because you didn't go?
Yeah, you have to use them within 12 months or your points are gone.
So
And I
even though
thought they
COVID,
would honor it because of the pandemic, but
yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah.
No. I mean, they did give me 2 nights at the Venetian, which was nice. They look back at my history, and but I mean, it's Wednesday and Thursday, and then I got to move to the Trop because I didn't want to spend, like, the weekend rates were crazy all over the place.
Oh, I
So
can imagine. Yeah.
Trop was, yeah, I think it was like $200 a night at the Trop, but the Venetian would have been like 5 a night,
Mm.
and those rooms are so nice. So I'm getting the first 2 nights for free, and then I've only got 2 bags, so it's no big deal. You can just hop a cab and go to the other hotel. But
So you're excited. You're excited just to get back there in
oh
general,
my
wrestling or
god,
not,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And I mean, and not only that, so I would go 3 times a year, and and now I've had 2 years of not spending all that money, and it was piling up, like literally piling up. Like, I brought a stack of bills like this, of money that I've been saving, and I just throw it in my drawer because my wife and I, we give ourselves allowance basically every 2 weeks on payday, and I would just throw it in my drawer, and I would come, I'd take money out every once in a while, and I've done a few smaller trips. I did the Dallas thing and everything, but I had a lot of money saved up, so on Friday I went and cashed it in for US funds, and I'm good. I'm gonna have some fun.
Good.
Yeah. And
Good. I'm
and you
supposed to
know
hear
what?
about
If
it.
I win at the gambling, you want to be around me. Anybody watching this, find me. I'll be if I'm winning, you'll be getting free drinks. You'll be getting your meals paid for or whatever. That's the way I am. I like to spread it.
Well,
You
mate, you
know.
need to get the inside tip on the Double or Nothing because you did pretty well in the Ronda Rousey return there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, that was a fluke. I mean, I heard about it from Brian, and yeah, I won $1,000. I mean, yeah, that's part of the money that got. Well, that is essentially paid for Mania. Really, like
oh,
that's
cool,
actually what I did was I took that money and I cashed it into U.S. funds, and that was the spending money I brought to Mania.
cool.
And we stayed at casinos on the way down, and the way back. So I didn't really lose any money, but I kind of spent all that money. But that was cool. That's why I went. That's why I bring it for. I like to have fun.
Good.
So.
And everything went well on your trip to
Oh
and from?
yeah, the trip was great. I mean,
Good.
honestly, the trip itself, was better than I could have hoped. It would have
Did
been
you
nice.
fly the last time or did you drive the
No,
last
we
time as
drove
well?
the last time too.
Both? Okay.
So the
God.
last time it was my one of my son's 18th birthday.
Okay.
So I brought him. That was his 18th birthday present because that's legal age here. And then we brought our 17-year-old daughter, and she had just got her driver's license. So we let her drive to the border. But once she got across the border, she only had like a learner's permit, so she couldn't drive past the border. And then I drove most of the way there because we drove straight through. So we left here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we got to Dallas at about 11 o'clock the next morning.
Okay.
And so around 3 o'clock in the morning, we pulled over. We switched. My son drove. I slept. So by the time we got to Dallas, I was wide awake, and I was picking people up at the airport. I met Dave. I got Dave Meltzer from the airport. We went and had lunch together, and yeah, it was it was cool. And then on the way back, he drove most of the way. And he let me sleep because I was gonna have to work the next day. So
Your son?
yeah. So
Okay.
we went to Raw, and we had already checked out of our hotel. And so as soon as we left Raw, we just started driving. So we left.
What was that Raw? What happened that night? Was that Enzo and Cass debut?
Yeah, I think so. Apollo Crews debuted. I know that.
Okay.
Cesaro returned, and AJ won a number one contenders match.
Oh, okay.
The night after he lost to Jericho.
Yeah.
Because the show ended with his theme music playing, and he did like 5 minutes, like touching like literally everyone on the floor's hand, and it was like, it was funny because everyone was complaining how he lost to Jericho, and then the next night he's a star. Yeah. Like they can do it when they want to.
Yeah. It's frustrating, but
that was like that was a show that killed Raw after Mania, I think, because that was the beach balls, and and it was.
Was that the one where Claudio goes into the crowd and just grabs the ball? Was that that night?
No, it couldn't have been, because that was the night he returned.
Oh, okay. Oh, he was in the suit, right?
Yeah. So, but they were doing the beach ball thing. I think it was during the women's match.
Okay.
Whatever that was. I just remember like it was that was the night where not a ton happened, and we're used to like Mania after Raw being like super, or Raw after Mania being super special. And this was just kind of like, it was okay. Like, it was a good show. Like, but
why do you think that is? I mean,
I don't know.
I think, yeah, I want to say, yeah, you're probably right. That was 2016.
Yeah,
it's
because by 2019 it was like nobody was even staying anymore, and this year like nobody stayed. Like,
I think Raw?
Yeah. Like, I mean, they didn't even sell out.
Yeah, that's what I heard Dave said that. They didn't even sell out Raw for the night after.
I mean, you're in Texas. You didn't go, right?
I did not. No, I didn't.
Yeah, and I didn't even.
We left Monday by
lunchtime. I didn't even consider it. Yeah. But that time, like we got on the road as soon as Raw was over, so like 11 o'clock. And we just drove. Like, we drove, we got back to Winnipeg at 7 o'clock the next night. And,
now, do you guys how often does Raw go to Winnipeg?
Not often. I think it's been here twice in the last 20 years.
20 years?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The Ric Flair.
Because it used to be a regular stop, was it not?
No, not for Raw. No. I mean, I think maybe 3 times, like in history. Like since Raw started, it's been twice, because the third time was they were in Brandon. They did a TV taping, so they had the In Your House pay-per-view here, and then the next night they were in Brandon, which is about 2 hours west of here. It's a little town, maybe like 70,000 people.
And they did Raw there?
They did Raw there, yeah, in a 3,000 seat building. Like, this is in like 95.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Raw wasn't that big. Yeah, and it was like when they were taped 4 shows in a row.
Okay,
So
okay.
they had it was in October, and so we got the Halloween episode, and then they all changed, and like it was, and they had a battle royal to get a title match, but they had actually already taped the title match.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw because the live show was the one with the battle royal to get a title shot, but they taped the show that was going to air
So it was out of order.
later. Yeah, it was out of order, so we knew who was going to win the battle royal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like Scott Hall, I think, and it was for an intercontinental title shot.
It's funny
But
because I guess I just assumed that Winnipeg got shows
no,
at least yearly.
because we might get a house show yearly,
Okay.
but not Raw. Like I think, like I said, I think there was the one where they did the musical chairs with Ric Flair.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was a famous one. And then they had a SmackDown, I think the same week, because the London and Kendrick won the tag team titles, and they ended up being the longest reigning SmackDown tag team champions. I think
Right.
maybe till the Usos, and they had them like for a super long time. But I'm struggling to think. No, I think they had one more Raw in like 2013 or something, because that was in the old building in the Winnipeg Arena, and then the new building is the MTS Center, which just got renamed to the Bell Center, I think.
Is that where the Jets play?
That's where the Jets play. And so I think they're doing SmackDown there in September, August or September. They were supposed to do it in January, right before the show before the Royal Rumble. But then when Omicron hit, they canceled all their Canadian shows. They were supposed to do a loop, Edmonton, Calgary. The problem is that we are kind of in the middle of nowhere. So, it's hard to book shows here. But
Wow.
yeah. You know what? We should wrap this up. I said we were going to go a half hour. We've been 45 minutes, and and I feel like we just got started. And I wanted to talk about music, which we never even got to. So maybe next time I'll have you on
Shout
again.
out to our buddy David who had me
David
on the
Lovell
show this week.
Yeah, and I'll plug. I'll plug something that will have already aired by the time you guys watch this, but you can always go back and listen to it. I did what David calls a twofer show, and it's two of the biggest Canadian bands of all time, the Guess Who and the Bare Naked Ladies. So it was an all request show, and we got, I think, about almost 30 songs on there. So
Wow.
really cool. Yeah.
I don't know anything by Guess Who except American Woman.
Well, I'll bet you if you listen, you might know a few more than you think. There's one song I've talked about on the show. I think it's These Eyes that actually supplanted Hey Jude as the Billboard #1 song in 1968.
I think I know that song now that you said that.
Yeah, and there's a few other ones, but the Bare Naked Ladies have a ton of great hits, and they had a lot of requests. I actually had to add a few Guess Who songs to balance it out, so you can check that out. And of course, the Dynamite Show on the Fight Game Media Patreon. You got anything you want to plug? You don't do any podcasts?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Everyone, go back and listen to David Lovell. If you listen to my show,
that's right.
Go back. Richard just did a show a couple weeks ago where he picked all Texas bands.
That's right.
And you got everything from ZZ Top to Hank Williams. No, not Hank. Waylon Jennings.
We did Waylon Jennings. We did Selena.
What was the hard band you had in there?
What's that?
You had like a heavy band in there.
Pantera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got a little bit of everything in there.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
And the ZZ Top song was Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers, right?
No, it was Heard It on the X.
Okay. I just remember hearing that song, and it was like, okay, usually you hear ZZ Top, it's like Legs or
that's what
Sharp Dressed Man or whatever. You picked a great song, and as soon as I heard that, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna love this." And Buddy Holly you had on there, yeah. So that was an awesome show. So check that out. Thanks. Just Google, go on Facebook, find David Lovell's shows, and you'll find Richard's show. It's about 3 weeks ago, so maybe like May,
something like that.
First week of May.
Yeah.
All right. So for Richard, I've been Grandpa Dez, and this has been Cup of Joe with Grandpa Dez.